ACCA, the world's most forward-thinking professional accountancy body.
Pressure in the workplace can take many forms, and our ability to deal with it can vary. This might be down to how resilient we're feeling at any particular point in time, but it can also depend on our character, our personal foibles. In this series of podcasts, business psychologist and coach Jess Baker tackles 3 areas where people might struggle to cope with pressure: being able to prioritize, being assertive, and managing oversensitivity. Continue listening to hear tips on how we can manage ourselves better to achieve more positive outcomes.
Am I being oversensitive? How can I deal better with criticism? Have you ever been told that you are too sensitive? Perhaps your parents or teachers once said this to you. It may or may not have been meant as a criticism, but these labels stick. How other people once judged us becomes our own judgment of ourselves. In this podcast, I'm going to look at what it means to be oversensitive, why some of us are more sensitive to criticism than others, and how to deal with criticism more effectively. Typically, when people describe themselves as oversensitive, they experience an extreme negative reaction to what someone else has said. Take this very common example. Your manager has given you feedback on a task you recently completed. They praised you for 2 or 3 aspects of your work, but they also highlighted one thing that you could have done better. While you appreciate the positive comments, you quickly overlook them and focus on that one negative comment. Remember, this is typical of the oversensitive person. They experience an extreme negative reaction to criticism from others. To explain why this happens to so many of us, we need to understand one fundamental fact. Your brain is wired to protect you. When our ancestors experienced actual life-threatening situations, such as finding themselves face-to-face with a dangerous beast out in the wilderness, they would have had to decide whether to run away to save their lives or stay and fight it out. This is called the fight or flight phenomenon that you may have heard of already. Within just a few milliseconds before the body jumps into action, either by fighting or fleeing, an area of the brain, the amygdala, which sits in the emotional center of the brain, has been activated. When faced with actual life-threatening situations, the amygdala sends messages to the brain and body. Blood and oxygen are sent to large muscles, so that the body has enough energy to fight or run away. The heart beats faster to assist with this, and breathing becomes quick and shallow. The body also stops digesting, which can cause that tingling sensation in the stomach, sometimes described as butterflies. In the 21st century, the amygdala continues to fire in actual life-threatening situations, which is very useful. For example, when a motorcycle speeds around the corner just as you are crossing the road, and your body jumps back onto the pavement and out of danger. This happens before you even have time to think, oh look, there's a motorcycle coming my way, and it looks as though it might hit me. I should step back onto the pavement to stop myself from being killed. But your amygdala also fires when you are faced with a perceived threat. The little things in life that are not actually life-threatening become triggers for worry and stress, such as negative feedback from your manager. And as if worrying about someone else's criticism isn't bad enough, you then also experience self-criticism, additional negative judgment. Thoughts like, I shouldn't be so sensitive. I shouldn't take it so personally. I must stop overreacting. I shouldn't let it bother me so much. Self-criticism is common. Aaron Beck, founder of cognitive psychology, called it irrational thinking. The German psychoanalyst Karen Horney wrote about the tyranny of the should. This type of thinking is unhelpful as it makes us feel worse, especially because oversensitive people tend to generalize any negative feedback. Criticism of your work not being good enough becomes exaggerated to mean that you are not good enough. Here, your self-worth is reliant upon other people's opinion of you. If they downgrade your performance, then you downgrade your worth as a human being, which, logically, does not make any sense, and is psychologically destructive. So now we understand that being oversensitive is just an extreme negative reaction to what someone else has said, plus our own self-criticism. The good news is that we can choose how we respond to both others' criticism and our own. Try to engage the logical part of the brain by taking the criticism at face value. If it can help you improve, be pragmatic. Ask for specific examples so that you can learn to do things differently. Next time they set you a task, you could ask them to clarify what exactly they expect from you. Be open to improving the way you do things. If you need to learn a new skill, then find a training course. If you need to enroll others for support, ask for help. If you find that you are constantly needing other people's approval, and this relates to all people pleasers listening to this, you might need to increase your level of self-worth. By this, I mean choose to value yourself highly with no conditions. Learn to take a positive view of yourself for no other reason than that's what you've decided to do. It isn't easy, but you do it already for others. You love other people regardless of their flaws. Even when your 4-month-old puppy toilets on the carpet, you love them nonetheless. We can also choose how we respond to self-criticism too. Meet the self-criticism with self-compassion. If you had a friend in your position, what would you say to them? Pull yourself together, get over it? No, you'd probably feel sympathy. Offer them words of encouragement and reassurance. Begin to notice your own self-critical thoughts. They are your cue to turn your sympathy and tenderness that you readily show others towards yourself. I'd like to add that there are many benefits of being sensitive. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. In fact, it could even be a strength in some settings. You are probably good at tuning in to others, anticipating their emotional reaction. You can make others feel included and at ease. You are careful in your delivery of feedback, and you have the potential to become a compassionate leader and role model for others. These qualities are rarer than you think and bring huge benefits to you, the people you're helping, and the organisation you're working for. I hope you found these tips useful. Listen out for other podcasts in my series for ACCA members where I discuss how to be better at prioritising and what to do if you'd like to be more assertive.
This podcast was brought to you by ACCA. Find out how we think ahead at accaglobal.com.